Dave in Texas. This is not Steve Carlson's Sunday morning show, but I wanted to introduce it with some music like he usually does on his Sunday morning shows. But and what we're listening to now, what we were listening to is this Magazine album, and I'm going to turn off the music because I can't talk over it. This is not, I'm entering his 1,000 subs, and Steve is a good guy to, you know, get that many subscribers. Anyway, what we were listening to is this Magazine Real Life album. It's not one of my submissions to his contest, but that's how I started the program. But Steve has 1,000 subscribers now, and he's doing this contest. And Steve is a real good guy, and I generally will watch him sometime on a Sunday. His videos are educational and informative, and I believe they're lactose free, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to, you know, message Steve about that. And I think there's no fluorocarbons in them either, and I don't even know what fluorocarbons is, but there you go. But he wanted you to show 5 of your go-to albums. Now, you know, this is my 5 today. You know, I'll have another 5 tomorrow. Yeah, I'll say these are my 5 today. And this first one that I picked, I was watching a movie here the other day, and the name of it was Lane Blacktop, which had James Taylor in it and Dennis Wilson. Kind of a road picture, but a real interesting picture. And if you rent the film, I rented it from Netflix, but if you rent the film, watch the director's commentary, and there's also a screenwriter's commentary on the film, and you can watch it 3 different times. I watched it the first time through, just straight through, and then listened to the director talk about it, and then the screenwriter talk about it as well, and it gave me a deeper appreciation of the film. But I was also, you know, inspired by the film to listen to some James Taylor, having seen him in the movie, and this would be one of my go-to albums. It's his Sweet Baby James album, and it's one of his better ones as far as I'm concerned. It's actually his second album. He did a first album on the Apple label with the a band that he started out playing with called The Flying Machine, but this is his second album, I guess his first one for Warner Brothers. But it has a lot of classic songs on it, like Fire and Rain, and you know, Sunny Skies, and oh golly, the whole thing is really a great album. And it I even bought his newest album because I started getting, you know, wanting to hear more by him. And so I picked up his newest album as well. But yeah, I have a lot of albums. This one here is really great too. Actually, it's people like James Taylor back in the late 60s that kind of got me into guitar playing. And I'm not a great guitarist by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, it's people like James Taylor, Joni Mitchell, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and you know, Gordon Lightfoot, and all those people like that got me interested in playing guitar. And so after I saw the movie, I kind of dug out all my James Taylor albums and have started re-listening to them. They're all these that I'm showing are really pretty good. Now, you could also just buy his greatest hits and, you know, probably be done with it. I also saw another movie. It was actually a concert by this guy here, Cat Stevens, and he's since changed his name to Yusuf, I believe is how you pronounce it. But he was on Access TV, with a small group. I think it was just him on guitar, and he had a bass player and a drummer, and they did his a lot of his big hits back in the day, which I used to, I still like listening to Cat Stevens from time to time. I listen to most newer stuff, but listening to that concert brought back a lot of fond memories, and I pulled out this album just like with James Taylor. I pulled out this album along with some of his other earlier albums and later albums, and started listening to some of his stuff again. And like James Taylor, he has a really warm style about him, and really good words that to me have meaning. I think of the meaning is all personal, but really takes me back in time to those days. Then I saw a video, which if I can remember, I'll post it on here. But it was a Tangerine Dream video that somebody had put up, just a viewer, and it was his trip. I believe it was to Iceland, and had really great cinematography and a really great Tangerine Dream music to it that he had put up. If it's still up, I assume it is. But kind of got me back into listening to some Tangerine Dream again, and I pulled out this album here not long ago and listened to it. This is one of their, I don't know, 5th or 6th, 7th album, something like that. But it's the first album that I bought by them back in '74 or something like that. I don't know when this thing came out. I think it came out in the 70s. Yeah, 74 actually. But I remember I was living in Austin at the time, and went over to a friend's house, and he was playing this album, and of course I had to know who it was and everything. And it was Tangerine Dream, and I've been listening to some of their other music as well, and actually bought their last album that they had done with right before Edgar Froese had died, and it's a good album. Now during the summers, I always get real nostalgic for listening to some psychedelic music, and I don't know why that is exactly, but this summer was no different. And generally one of the albums that I'll play is this one here. This is the Grateful Dead's Anthem of the Sun. Now I used to have this with the purple background, and this is a later pressing, but I like it because it makes the design show up a little bit more. It's exactly the same album, but just with a different cover. But yeah, if I listen to any psychedelic music, I'll generally want to hear this, when I'm in that mood, because it's just so layered, and I get real nostalgic for that type of thing. And then Joni Mitchell is always a go-to album. I can't remember, I think I have a DVD in there with Joni Mitchell on it, one of her concert DVDs, and I'll get where I listen to Joni Mitchell any time of the year or night or day or whatever. She's just a really great performer and musician, and again, it's people like her that kind of turn me on to folk music, acoustical guitar music, and actually, maybe want to kind of buy a acoustic guitar and see what I could, if I could learn how to play it or whatever. But she's one of my favorite performers. So I think I did 5 albums, if I'm not mistaken. You look here. Yeah, I think I did. Anyway, Steve, that is my 5 go-to albums for today. Again, it'd probably be another different 5 albums tomorrow. But the ones that I've showed, I listen to all the time, and I've bought those albums you know, back when they came out, and you know, it's, you know, 40, 50 years on. So there is a, you know, a lasting quality to all of them. You know, I always want to hear something new as well, but it's always fun to go back and listen to some of your older stuff. You get real nostalgic for that type stuff. So just wanted to enter your contest and support your channel, Steve. I think you got a really good channel going on, and like I said, it's you know, always fun to tune in on a Sunday and watch your videos. So there you go. That's my contest. Contest entry. We'll talk to you later.